Engineering in patch 11.1. Surely the Goblin profession is getting some love in the Goblin patch. So what's going on to make gold? Where should we be spending knowledge points? How was engineering been doing in general? Is gambling the best way to make gold in the war within with engineering? So let's have a look at it. So engineering does have a new recipe, which is more than we can say for most professions, at least in this patch. So we have the 22H slicks. This is a upgrade for the car that we are going to be driving around the Undermined Zone in patch 11.1. You're going to need 5 renown from the new reputations of in the zone to be able to do this. And you're just going to get that from basically just doing stuff in the zone, killing rares, doing quests, etc., etc. Now, because this is all account bound, and obviously you can get this once you've got that 5 renown, you can get it on any character on the account. But at the time of writing this, and this moment we are literally only a couple of days away from going live, on the PTR you cannot get to the new zone if you are not level 80. So basically what you need to do is you need to use the summon stone that's there for the raid, which is right in the middle of the zone, right near where the recipe vendors are anywhere, and get help and summon any character that's not level 80 that you need to get recipes with. So that's basically how you're going to work around that if your engineer that you want to use to say buy this recipe isn't level 80. This is something that could maybe be a nice little earner for the first person to unlock to get crafting these, but after that the market's probably going to be flooded with these as everyone will have this recipe in basically no time. So there is probably a small amount of first to market gold making opportunity with this, but I do think it's sort of going to be sort of limited even how much gold the first person is going to make from it. The biggest issue with this may actually be that people simply do not know about it, and they won't know about this upgrade to the car, so they won't be looking for what you are selling. So that might be the biggest issue. So even if you do get there first, you may struggle to sell the stuff anyway. When we look at it from a perspective of patch 11.1, what's coming in, it's not going to be sort of like game breaking or anything like that. Now, what has been doing fairly well for engineering, basically since the expansion launch, for me in particular, has been part crafting. So there has always been something that crafts at sort of like a fairly decent profit. The only issue with these is there's obviously 6 different parts you can craft. There is a massive variance in the sales rate on these missive parts. So the gyrating gears sell significantly faster than something like safety switches. You can literally craft thousands of some of these and you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about the market crashing too much. But some of them you probably don't want to craft more than 100 or 2. Now, there are a couple of other things we're going to look at with engineering, sort of war within stuff. But firstly, we'll look at the parts setup because that's probably what most people are going to end up using. So as usual, we want rank 5 or profession gear. We are going with a multi-craft tool and a resourcefulness enchant. Now, the engineering profession bag is not as mandatory as with any other profession. I don't actually even have it here. I should probably get it because all it's going to do is it's going to give you more rusted scrap when you are making parts. Now, you can break down the rusted scrap and get like a really small amount of gold for it, but to be honest, it's not really affecting your profit margins. But to be honest, yeah, you probably should get it, to be honest. But it's not going to significantly affect the amount of gold you're making on your parts. Knowledge-wise, you need 40 points in inventing, 30 points in scrapper, and at least 15 points in ingenious and 40 points in parts. In addition to all that, we need to maintain a couple of buffs at all times while crafting. So we need to maintain the invent buff at all times. Now, this is what you get. You get this buff from crafting invent, and it gives you a huge amount of multi-craft. And basically, this buff lasts 12 hours. So it's not hard to maintain, but it's also not hard for it to fall off because it's so easy to forget about because you refresh it at such an irregular interval, then it can potentially drop off. So just be aware of that more than anything else. Now, like with everything crafting in this expansion, you need to be using the file of Bountiful Seasons for that massive resourcefulness buff that's going to sort of really cut down your crafting costs and keep your profit margins up nice and high. In addition to that, file of the Quick Hands from Dragonflight, 30% increased crafting speed, along with the Weaver's buff, and that's going to get you to the 75% crafting speed cap basically quite easily. Now you can see here my scan of sort of the engineering stuff, almost all the parts are green at all ranks. And this is what you see a lot of the time with part crafting. It's not insane numbers by any means, but you can definitely make some gold here. Now, what seems like everyone's favorite way of trying to make gold with engineering this expansion. So I'm talking about pilfering through parts. So that's destroying engineering parts in the hopes of getting drops for the new engineering mount and sort of like crafting that up or selling the parts. Now, if you're going to do this, then you can do it with the setup we already have. The only difference is you need a resourcefulness tool with a resourcefulness enchant on it to be able to do it. Now, I'm going to say this straight away. This is 100% gambling. I have done some maths on this, and I don't have all the numbers for sure on this, but I have enough that I know on average this is a loss. Now I can look at my prospecting calculator and I can see what I'm going to get, the average output times sort of current prices, and I can work out whether that's a profit or a loss from doing that prospecting. Now, you would always make the decision if it's a negative, then you're not going to do it. If it's positive, if it's a profit, then you're going to prospect and you're going to do whatever with that stuff from there. Most people wouldn't do it at a loss because you know over a long term you're going to lose gold. Now, with pilfering, you are always at a loss. It doesn't matter what you do. The only differences between that and prospecting is you have these big payout items. So you have the pummel permit, which is sort of like a big ticket item. So you can sort of like hit a jackpot. And I think that's what's pulling people towards doing this engineering pilfering. But like I said, on average, over a long period of time, you are going to lose gold from doing this. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the topic. But I know a lot of you guys are just going to carry on gambling anyway. But, you know, gamble's gamble, okay? The other thing I thought was going to do quite well, and I've talked about it in the past, was sort of crafting potion bombs. So you can do this as well, like on top of the spec we've already done. If you get 40 points into devices, 30 points into explosives, and then you can craft potion bombs. And I just can't really seem to get this to work as I wanted. So these numbers I'm currently doing for my potion bombs on this simulation are currently assuming that I'm crafting these using potions that I've crafted at a profit. So like even in that situation, I'm still struggling to make a profit on these. So I'm curious, any of you guys actually managing to make a profit from potion bomb crafting? Because I'm curious as to how you're doing it, because obviously with like sort of all my numbers and stuff like that, it just really doesn't seem to be working. Like I've spoke to about the professions, gear crafting, I'll say that the same stuff. 1, make sure you're using CraftScan if you are crafting gear for people. 2, if you are using CraftScan, make sure you are customizing the message. Don't use the default setup. It's going to significantly cut down on the amount of people that are going to whisper you back for those crafts. 3, you can cross-server do this as well if you want. Invite them to a guild, do it as a guild crafting order. You can sell basically to people on every single server in your region if you really want to. And it's just sort of expanding out that customer base a lot more for you if that's something that you want to do. So overall then, there's not a lot really coming with engineering next patch. I don't think it's really going to make a difference. There's the gambling, there's the potion bombs, but I don't think it's great. Engineering parts, yeah, it's fine. It's doing the same as it's done all along. Just, you know, a reasonable profit margin for what you are doing. And most of it seems to be profit most of the time. If you guys prefer guides in a more written format, like this sort of like quick walkthrough we've done for engineering, if you go on the Discord, so the Discord is free to everybody to join, and there's a link to that in the description below. On the Discord, there's written guides. So like we have this one for engineering and we have some for some other professions as well, if you want to sort of take a look at that yourself. Thank you so much to the Patreon supporters. You guys are the only reason I've been able to spend so much time to investigate the 11.1 PTR and to be able to put out as much content as I have for everybody to watch. So thanks again, guys. And thank you guys for watching as well. And I will see you next time.